Imagine you're a South Korean fighter pilot. On your last flight in the F-15K, you've been flying for about 10 years, 11 years, and you have a great flight. At the end, you'd like to take a selfie. That selfie ends up costing you your career and over $500,000 US. This story just emerged, and it's pretty interesting. Finny flights don't always go well. Let's talk about it.
3, 2, 1, flight toss.
So the background context, before 2021, taking photos in a ROCAF aircraft was kind of the accepted practice. There was no formal restriction, nothing to prohibit it. People would go do Finny flights and take a selfie, take some pictures to commemorate the event and share those memories with their friends and family. Except on December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2021, two F-15K Slam Eagle jets were doing a routine two-ship, probably BFM, dogfighting. They call it a formation training mission, but it's really, we're probably going to do BFM. So two jets, four people, pilot Wizzo. They call him Senior Lieutenant Alpha. He's the wingman. He was commissioned in 2010. This is his last flight before moving on to the next thing. In the pre-flight brief, he says, hey, I want to take a few photos at the end just to get memories for, my dating profile or whatever. And then they have the flight, and on RTB, the Senior Lieutenant Alpha pulls out his mobile phone to take the pictures. No, not a GoPro that's fixed mounted or anything like that. He pulls it out of his pocket, which begs the question, why didn't he have his Wizzo do it? Because that's really what they're best at. But instead, he decides it, and the lead pilot looks over and says, hey, I see you're taking some pictures. I'll have my trunk monkey, a.k.a. Wizzo, world's greatest passenger, take some pictures of you. So he's like, okay. But he doesn't stop. He then takes an unplanned, abrupt maneuver, uncoordinated, sharply ascends near vertical to get a better overhead angle for his photos, which he's doing. Closure rates increase. He gets a little too close, and he tries to evade up and away because that's what's happening. The left tail stab of Lieutenant Alpha's jet strikes the left wing of the lead jet. They both sustain damage. They both return and land at Daegu base with no injuries. The two F-15Ks undergo repairs at a cost of $878.71 million KRW, which is about $596,000 in US, which is actually not bad. The Air Force investigates. They say he was properly using public official under the Accounting Officials Responsibility Act and orders him to repay the full repair cost of $596,000. Imagine that. You're now on the hook for $600,000 almost. He gets a suspension, and they kind of bury the incident and keep it confidential for over 4 years. Fast forward now to October 2023, Senior Lieutenant Alpha, who's now a former pilot, he's flying for the airlines, I think, petitions the Board of Audit and Inspection to review and reduce the full repayment order. And just recently, on April 2nd, they finalized the decision, and the BAI report was released, I think, today. And they said it was part of the Inspection of Illegal Expenditure and Financial Leakage 2 report. Relevant case is titled Damage to a Fighter Jet Wing While Taking Personal Commemorative Photos During the Flight. The key finding that they say that he bears primary responsibility for what happened due to the sudden unbriefed maneuver, described as abrupt by other pilots. However, the Air Force shares some responsibility for failing to regulate the widespread photo-taking practice. There were mitigating factors such as the fact that he said he was going to do it in the brief, so implied consent because the flight lead didn't say no. the safe emergency landing that prevented further damage. So you caused the problem, but you managed not to make it worse. And then his long-standing service record since 2010. Again, that's over a decade at this point. And his contributions to aircraft maintenance and test flights. I wonder if they made him turn a wrench on the jets he broke. The ruling, the compensation was reduced to exactly 1/10, which is 87.871 million KRW, or $59,600. A lot of it's been redacted due to national security reasons, but it was a pair of F-15Ks from the 11th Fighter Wing at Daegu. The senior lieutenant eventually left the ROCAF and transitioned to a career as a commercial airline pilot. So there is the highlights. Boy, Finney flights, as I know, can go, especially when you're filming. They can go a couple ways. They can be, the best thing you can do is break even. I have heard of, I mean, we've seen it, right? It can be anything from somebody gets in trouble for doing something stupid. They die by crashing. I have never seen someone owe $500,000 or more dollars after their Finney flight. Because we do, the way Finney flights work, right? When you leave a squadron, traditionally, if you're under good terms, you will get a Finney flight. So a designated, hey, it's Lieutenant Alpha's last flight with our squadron before he moves on, whether he's moving on to another F-15K squadron or something else completely, you get a Finney flight. It's just kind of an honor. Now, sometimes the Finney flight is more permanent, like your retirement, or you're getting out of the service altogether. But in this case, he was moving on to something else, which eventually did not happen. And it went well until he tried to do the camera stuff. My question would be, why didn't he just have his Wizzo, who, as Gonky says, his whole job is to film the merge? Why not have the Wizzo take the photos? Because you want to look cool, or put a GoPro up there so it's safe. Taking your phone out in the United States, that's not typically allowed. GoPro usage is allowed in some situations because it's a fixed mounted camera that you're not messing with for this very reason. Because this happened back in like the 70s or 80s with the old big cameras where two guys ran into each other trying to film and fly at the same time. Anything that's taking your hands off the controls while you're trying to focus on that. Safest thing would be some kind of suction mount GoPro or fixed mount where you set it, forget it, and that's it. But second to that, I would say, have your Wizzos do it, because what else are they doing back there? Or have them fly. I think the F-15K has controls back there, so I don't know which is scarier, having a Wizzo fly or, trying to film and fly at the same time. I would say in this case, you let the Wizzo fly. But yeah, don't know why they chose to do that, but obviously poor decision making for allowing it to, and it probably wouldn't have gone horribly wrong had he not tried to do all the Hayaka vertical, let me get the better shot, all that stuff. If you're going to do all that, you need to have your total focus and not looking through the lens of a camera and trying to fumble with your phone and all that stuff. But yeah, expensive lesson to learn. Now it's down to $59,000, which if he's an airline pilot, what is that, like a month's pay? Who cares? But he'll never fly a fighter again, which is sad. I know the feeling. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.